Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to the Sage Executive Podcast. I got a pretty awesome guest with us today, and I'm excited to introduce him. So without further ado, why don't you take a moment here and let us know who you are and what do you do?
Sure. I'm Dr. Jon Thompson, President and CEO of extraktLAB and United Science. We basically put people in the business of hemp extraction. We put them into the business. We give them the business plans. We help them obtain their facilities. We set them up with equipment and we train them. So we're basically end to end. We have a full solution for putting people into hemp extraction or cannabis extraction. And we've been doing that all around the country and around the world, South America, Central America, Europe, and Canada since 2014.
Wow. And so is this, when you're saying you're setting people up, is this like a franchise that other people are wanting to build up and they're like, okay, hey, go talk to extraktLAB. They can do everything for you?
No, it's not a franchise. The business person would have an idea. Oftentimes they would interface with our products in a couple different ways. Someone said, hey, look, we know where we want to go. We have our business plan. We got our money. We just want you to do the facilities. So our main claim to fame is, basically producing the facilities, building them up, getting all the workflow together, getting the quality processes in there.
Got it, yeah.
And setting up all the equipment for them, training all their guys on the equipment.
Wow.
And what happened was a lot of the people needed help on the front end from the business side and the facility side. And then afterward, what kind of formulations and what kind of products. So we ended up just doing consulting on either end of that. So yeah, it's been a great time.
Yeah. Did you have to come up with like your own proof of concept for yourself, or how did you even kick off everything?
Yeah, it was interesting. Okay, I had a college buddy who said, hey, let's go do a cannabis license in Minnesota. And we wrote a license. We got one of the 2 licenses in Minnesota. And it turned out that out of many, many, many applicants. And then we did that in other states. And my company, United Science, basically built up that facility. So we had PhD guys all running around, to chemists running around, building up the processes, figuring out how to formulate cannabis, so for different indications, like some of our patients were pediatric patients, or they had, they needed, epileptic patients, for example, or some people with chronic pain. So we'd come up with different formulations and different extraction methods for those.
Oh, nice. Okay. And then you figured out how to build the process together. You kind of systemized it and you said, hey, we can go do this for other people. Is that kind of
what happened? We kind of, we're equipment manufacturers. Okay. And what it turned out that since we had built so many of these businesses up, that we added on, business consulting, and we added on, facilities consulting, just naturally because we were doing it anyway. So yeah. But fundamentally, we're kind of equipment guys. I mean, we cut steel. Okay. That's what we do.
I get you saying.
So, but we're not like a machine shop. We're not a welding shop. We're
like an OEM, right?
We're an OEM, except for we actually, we'll put a whole entire facility together for you. So
wow, that's pretty sweet.
It's a lot of fun. I couldn't ask for anything better. It's so much fun.
Cool. And so that was back in 2014. So the next question I typically like to ask is just, what's the best thing about being a leader? But I do want to, if you can actually start from before 2014, right? Because it seems, from just talking to you right now, it seems natural. Like 2014 hit and you're like, oh, I got this idea. Let's go do this thing. And you kind of like, I'm already, so somehow you had the mindset of a leader, right? And so something prepared you for that 2014 year, where everything that you learned before that year kind of propelled you.
Absolutely. So I have something I say a lot, and it's action today. Okay. I just had a marketing meeting on Monday where we're just talking to them. Everything the good that's ever happened in life to me has occurred in the hours of 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Okay. That's where you get things done. Okay. A lot of people don't like to do that. They don't want to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. Okay. But action today is the number one thing. So I like making things happen. And if you look before 2014, I just ended up being, kind of one of those guys that does a lot of work, hard worker. So I started off, I got a PhD in analytical chemistry, and then I went into engineering, and then I did R&D at some small companies, and then they got gobbled up by big companies and ended up doing some engineering around the world. That was a lot of fun doing business development.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I was like, oh, geez, I should be doing this for myself. So I went and I started writing grants to the government. Turns out I was really good at that. It's called Welfare for PhDs, and so yeah, I got a bunch of money there. We did
That's
stuff
funny.
for NASA. Anyway, long story short, I like working with people. I like to get things done. I like action today, and there's just models that you can use personally in your life to really move the ball forward. And that 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. is a real big secret of mine.
Wow, that is a huge secret, because you're right. Like in my head, I'm thinking I need to be in bed by 10 a.m. so I can wake up by like 6 a.m.
Right.
And then like start my day there, reading or whatever it is, all that other stuff that we have to do. But
No. That all the good things happen there. You can get 2 weeks worth of work done in one night of just
hammering down. So
down.
then what's your sleep schedule like? I mean, you have friends and you have family, or
I don't do that. I only do that for big rocks, So there's a big rock that needs to get done. So it's okay. But if you're in a mindset there, also you got to have an entrepreneurial mindset. I didn't fit in corporate America, period. I just didn't. They didn't. I didn't fit.
How long were you in the corporate? How long were you in there?
About 5 years. Yeah. And it was
so that's not that much.
They couldn't, it's just, if they're not, action today, it just,
and they're just trying, sometimes they try to isolate you, and it's like, this is kind of what you're going to do.
They want, and entrepreneurs, they have to work their way out. They have to work it out. And the hierarchy, it's really hard working for someone. Oh, I can't say that.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about it. No problem. All right. No problem. So I guess my next thing is, naturally, you talk a lot about being a content creator. Yeah. So in client acquisition, right, there's cold outreach, there's cold calling, there's cold email, there's a ton of different types. And then obviously there's content, right? Content creation, SEO. What have you found? And like, as obviously the leader in your company, when you're talking to your marketing team, what are those strategies you're saying, hey, this is our core, this is what we're going to do? Right. What are some of those strategies that you're executing with your team?
Right. You need a scalable authority. In other words, you have to be the authority, but it has to be scalable. Like if it's only dependent upon me, it wouldn't, I'd fizzle out and not, there's a certain amount. Right? So it has to be scalable. So there's certain ways you can do that. You have to create a content creation engine. Okay. And where that engine is supporting the authority content that you have. So fundamentally, my belief on cold calling and bringing in leads and all this stuff, I mean, you build it, they will come. In other words, if you become the authority, you have an educational content, you give stuff away, you give your advice away, you continuously create that content. People are going to start, looking at you as an authority, and you will be authority because you're talking about things that you know a lot about. And then, they inevitably, they'll come, they contact you, and that's what happens. If you have rivals or competitors that are not doing that, they're just, trying to, call. It's really difficult to really get a part of the mind share. What I'm really after is, what is the fraction of mind that I occupy in my potential customer's mind? Where is that?
Yeah.
And if you have scalable authority, you'll be able to do that. So that's the old Johnny T theory of marketing. So.
No, I like that. And Johnny T, who's Johnny T? Just so.
Me, I'm Johnny T. I'm Dr. Johnny T.
So, in my head, I'm thinking like, oh man, Johnny T, like 1920s Johnny T, and it's like Dr. JT.
Yeah. So that's that.
No, I like that. Scalable authority. So and in practical, so it's something that's practical. Does that mean, like, can you tell me in something in more practical terms, right? When you talk about scalable authority,
right?
And you're not saying it's just Dr. Jon Thompson creating content. What does a scalable content engine mean or look like?
Well, it has a lot to do with choosing the right people and then training those people up. And so I have a lot of hands-on. I mean, I personally take responsibility in training the people I have to make content like a lot of people think, oh, I'm getting, I'm in the weeds, I'm in the details. Okay. That's because what I'm doing is I'm training those guys up. So just like if you're going to go into a PhD program, for example, okay, you're going to take the advice and the wisdom of your mentor or your advisor, and that's going to be you're all of a sudden you're going to start becoming like them
because you're consuming that, you're just around them.
Okay, so really, what scalable content is training, and that's why you must have the right people. If you don't have the right people, there's no way you can scale your authority. Okay. So the reason is because they're always going to be looking for another job or something like that. If you have the wrong people in there, you're not going to spend. I put a lot of personal effort into each of the people that I work with on the marketing side of it.
Yeah.
It's not only, and we expose all those ideas among our team. So we're always talking about, so everything's exposed. It's not like, okay, I'm going to have a video content guy. I'm going to talk to him about video content for an hour a week. No. It's the video people, the SEO people, the PPC people. It's all the people. We're all together. We're talking about the business as a whole, and we're exposing the different ideas of how we might be thinking about. Sometimes we can't figure it out. We eventually get there. But also creating frameworks for your team. Okay. This is how we think about certain things. And that allows you to, that gives them freedom within that framework to just go ahead and create content.
Yeah.
I know I'm giving you some platitudes, but I would say what it really boils down to is training, interaction. Most CEOs don't get in the weeds on this kind of stuff, but I think it's so important because how are you going to scale your authority? How are you going to scale that, and who is your audience, So I'm a small company guy. Okay. So I'm looking directly for consumers, but the same thing applies for public companies because their people are basically the analysts, right? That's who they're selling to. They're selling to, maybe fund managers or whatever. They have a different group, but you still have to become their authority. That's it.
Yeah.
And otherwise they're going to undermine you in some way. So, but it comes down to creating the framework, creating ways to think about your business, and then sharing those with your employees. So you got to have the right people.
Man. Yeah, no, that definitely sounds like a process in and of itself.
Yeah. And it's just spreadsheets and, but really, honestly, that's what it is. Hey, this is how we do it. And you get, you send it out and like, okay. And then you're able to do gaps analysis and normal stuff like that,
Yeah.
But I'm a chemist. Why do I know,
My background's mechanical engineering. So I like understanding it there. Cool. All right. So then just going off of that, what's kind of a piece of advice that you would give to other leaders?
Right. Okay. So you got to get the right people. Okay. Just the right, every small business and large business knows this, that you got to get the people who are right for your business on board, and get the people who are, negative or complaining or never can be satisfied with what they're doing. You got to get rid of those guys. So, because all they're going to do is they're going to continue to complain. They're going to continue to whine.
Yeah.
Never going to be satisfied. You got to have you send them over to your competitors. Okay. Because they're going to be taking everybody down with them. Okay. You got to have someone who comes into the work every day, who has dedicated ownership, what they're doing. They're internally motivated. So you don't have to call them at 10 o'clock to get out of bed. Okay. So you really have to have that. Once you get that right person in the mind, you can then have a proactive training program. And I think, investing in people from the standpoint of, hey, here's how we're thinking about this. Here's how to think strategically about this. Strategy is not just for the CEOs of a company. You got to operationalize it into the operation itself.
I agree. So that they learn how you're thinking through problems. Yes. And then that way you don't have to tell them exactly what to do all the time. They already understand.
Yeah,
this is the way I have to think this problem through.
Exactly. That's how you scale. And
that takes time. Are you creating like videos and then putting them through like a training modules, or is this?
No, it's a lot of, okay, here's, so I learn from them too. Don't get me wrong. So it's always a two-way street. Okay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's a lot of it is since if you have more than one content expert, you're able to really kind of do that sharpening And, I have a very high standard for my content. I really want to have people learning something from it, and it has to be like good. Okay. So a lot of times, like, someone who's writing articles and stuff like that, we, maybe do 5 or 6 iterations and never saw anything like it. But what it is it's a training process, Do that a couple times, they're on their way. Yeah. I don't have to do it.
And they're going to be good.
And they're going to get on that. Yeah. So, so investing in people, get the right people, so those are 2 things. And the third thing is the cutting edge. The cutting edge is the bleeding edge. You don't want to be on the bleeding edge. I believe in fast following. Okay. I believe in innovation, not invention. Now, I'm an inventor.
Yeah.
I know how that just seems like it's so much, it's a lot of work. The inventors, they're always trying to invent something new. Okay. But really what you want to have is innovation. And that's basically taking what you have from a standpoint of a technology and evolving it in small steps. If you are, for example, very rarely do you have something like, wow, that's whiz bang new. Usually what happens is it's some sort of evolution based on what you have done in the past or what your current success is. And it's just making it better and better and better and better. So I would say that if you're going to be on the cutting edge, you better avoid the cutting edge because you could be bleeding on the cutting edge. That's going to increase your SG&A, and then you're going to be wondering where all your money went. And well, it's all in the bleed. It's all bled up. Yeah. So
and that's the whole idea of like, you got to cross the chasm at some point, right? And
yeah. And there is the place for like radical innovation. In other words, invention. And every company has to be thinking about that. But the way
within your space, within the building blocks that you've already created.
Yeah. But the way people really make money is by innovating, not invention.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Understand that. Okay, no problem. So going off of just the top leaders that you've worked with in the past, I like to bring in really solid performers, like yourself, obviously.
Right.
Who would you acknowledge on the show and say, hey, this is one of the individuals that can really come in here and enlighten a lot of our audience?
Well, let me just step back and say that the team that I put together is an extremely high performing team. And I don't know if I even put them together or they put me together. Probably a little bit of both. Okay. But each in their own right. The guys that I have working with me have, they're just excellent in every way. Okay. And if I were to think about one of those guys, Mel Welch at Namaji, which is a sister company of ours, he does a real good job from the standpoint of managing like a CPG, hemp production facility. So I would say that he's a really good guy for you, and he's more general than say my operations guy or my manufacturing guy, who are in their own right are extremely good. I mean, they're one of the reasons why I can focus on content because they're doing such a great job there. If you have mediocre people in your financial side or in your manufacturing side or whatever, even in your R&D side, you get those people and they're not doing their jobs, you're going to have to do remediative work there, right? So that's the key thing. So you get those guys in set. So, but short answer to the question would be Mel Welch would be one of the guys that I'd
Perfect.
say. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
In that same mold. And he was the guy, who you can have a conversation with and, just be really engaging. Yeah.
Awesome. And so this next question, it has to do with really your industry. You don't work with that many manufacturers who are constantly thinking about generating content and educating. I'm not going to lie, right? I mean, coming from an engineering background, I've worked with, multi-million-dollar manufacturers, and it's very novel in a way, right? A lot of them are trying to think about, I got to get into the digital space because it used to be very much like handshakes and donuts and hanging out and partnerships, things like that. So you're innovating even on the marketing side.
Yep.
At least, and we're a marketing agency. So like we talk to manufacturers. In your belief, it's the same models apply. If you're a manufacturer, it's like, get your content out there, get it in front of the right people,
right?
And you'll see your success.
Yeah.
Is that kind of it?
Yeah. And you really have tremendous amount of extremely innovative tools available to you today that were not there 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
There are just a burgeoning of great tools that are out there for innovative companies. And I tend to be more on the bleeding edge on the marketing side than I do on the technical side. Mostly because it costs less money, but meaning on the manufacturing side. But
just a lot of R&D, a lot of cost goes into all that.
Oh yeah, and it's messy. But a lot of times I think that the innovation on the marketing side today is mind blowing. What's available and what you can do, and there's just a ton of stuff. So I would encourage executives to get personally involved in your tech stack. Number one, get personally involved in it. If you have 200 employees or less and you don't know what your tech stack is, you are leaving it up. You are leaving the future of your company up to people who are not thinking about their tech stack strategically. So I would encourage people to think about their tech stack and just innovate there, because that's going to produce not only from the content side, but just the actual tech stack itself is going to always help you maintain and scale. So scalable content, scalable authority, scalable tech stack, very important.
And so then where do you get your information from when you're learning about different tech stacks and marketing strategies? Where do you learn from?
Well, I kind of self-teach. Okay, so I see the problem. We do the gap analysis. I see, okay, well, how is it that I'm going to be able to get here, X, Y, Z? I need to go right here. How can I do it? So I start looking around, and all of a sudden, things just pop. Oh, I could use it for this. I didn't even know this existed. And then once you do that, I wouldn't believe the amount of personal research, meaning
just
nobody
hours
in the company or nobody. Okay, so we work with great marketers, super high-end marketers, whatever, all the latest education stuff. They're not even, the stuff that we're doing is not even on their radar. They're like, how do you learn this stuff? Well, we had a need, we identified the need, and then we went out and looked for it. It turns out that, there's this app guy who's got this app and it works really great. Then the problem is integrating all that. So that's what I mean by thinking about your tech stack, integrating everything. So from the marketing side, I think it's, I go from one thing to another. If I solve one problem, I figure that they're connected to another. So that's another thing, SEO. Okay, like keyword searches and things like that. Something so simple. You probably don't talk to SEO or CEOs that have done keyword searches. Okay?
Yeah,
probably not. I do keyword searches all the time. Okay, and because I learn things. In fact, before I go to Google, I'll do a keyword search because I find all the related keywords. I find all the semantic keywords. As I'm researching a topic, I'll go there first because it just gives you a much better idea of what the information is, and you'll find out. Okay, well, wait, here's a brand name here that's coming up under this, and I can connect the brand name to and sometimes that's how I find my stuff. So so anyway, that's what we're doing.
No, awesome. All right. And the last final question. I mean, we're all remote. I don't know. Actually, we're remote. I don't know if your team's remote. It seems like some of you guys are, maybe some of you are not. If we're working in the studio.
Some of us are. Some of us are not. We have 2 facilities. One's 80,000 square feet. Another about 40,000 square feet. We manufacture, of course. So we're cutting steel. We're making stuff. We're tightening bolts.
So
building things.
Just having fun.
It's fun stuff. And then we also have our marketing studio. We have our studio and all on facility on site.
So then when you're after a win, right, and however you classify a win, how do you typically like to celebrate with your team, whether they're remote or whether they're inside?
Right. Well, I kind of have the idea of celebrating all the time. So off to my left-hand side, I have the whole full Scotch bar. Okay, and
really? I wish you could turn your camera. I want to see this.
Oh yeah. No, it's good. It's good. We try to take out time to celebrate as much as we can. A lot of on the equipment side, our sales cycle is it can be 6 months or it can be a year. So it's super perfunctory when you actually close something. It's like, okay, yeah, it was closed 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and now we're just waiting for all the process for that actually to occur. Okay, so it's anticlimactic all the time. So what's always a good idea is to come up with ways to recognize the people who are doing the work and do that on a consistent basis. So if you have celebrations like every other week, that's probably the thing to do. When we close a really big deal, however, we got some Dom Perignon in the wine cellar there,
Nice.
and of course we pop that out and imbibe, and that's really great.
That's some
But
good.
I prefer Scotch over champagne.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So I guess, and this is more on the cultural side, on the cultural question. When, when you're appreciating your employees, what does it look like? When you're saying thank you, how do you, especially if they are remote, right? How do you really express that gratitude?
Right. So I think that there's something that we do is we have every other week we have like managers receptions. Okay, and we do them. We try to do them as regularly as possible. That's really worked out by HR. So I told HR, hey, I want to have biweekly managers receptions. She kind of puts those all together for me and does the legwork of putting the work to actually make that happen. But department by department. We did one last week with all the managers, for example. In a couple of weeks, we'll do one with the engineers, and we're going to do some with the marketing. And it's just a time to say, hey, thanks a lot for everything you're doing. Maybe enjoy a scotch, enjoy a beer, light up some cigars. We'll open up the doors, whatever, and just, enjoy each other, invest in people, because it's really what we're all about. There's what make our company go round and round. That's it. Mm-hmm. So celebrate people. And sometimes there are certain people who you want to, highlight, wow, those guys are doing a really great job. And sometimes you do a toast. That's the time to toast the guy who's, outstanding. And typically, you get a group of 10 to 15 people and, they all know, hey, look, that guy's like, he's really good. And, you toast them, right? Yeah. Give away some products to people, pour a little bit of scotch. I mean, how hard is that? And you can just do it in your conference room and, have a good time. So that's what I would recommend. And if you can have your HR person, or if you don't have an HR person, just go ahead and buy 4 or 5 bottles of scotch and do a tasting with your friends, because you want to have you want to work with them too, and you get to know them outside of work a little bit, and that's what we do anyway.
Cool. No, thank you.
Cigars are really important too. I this may be just, scotch and cigars. I mean, maybe,
anything to bond over. Right. Right.
Yeah,
And just to show that appreciation.
Yeah. Exactly. And not everybody imbibes cigars and scotch. Okay. Some people just drink water.
Yeah. I was like, we don't have to get into that. No. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, if I'm offending anybody, I'm sorry, but you know how that
we get it. All right. Dr. JT, is it okay if I call you Dr. JT? I just made that up right now.
No problem.
All right. How can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about your business and more about you?
Right. So go to extraktLAB.com, extraktLAB.com. We have podcasts. Go look at our podcast. We have lots of resources. If you're thinking about getting into the hemp industry, of course, we can help you with that. And we're there just as your information resource. So let us know what you think. And when you go onto our website, there'll be ways to get in contact with us.
Sweet. All right. No, awesome. And for everybody else that's tuning in, thanks for watching or listening to the Sage Executive Podcast. I'm your host, Fernando Corona, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks.